is currently episode 36. Paddy, how do you feel today?
Rah! Incredible Hawk.
At the end of each podcast, if you're a regular listener, you know that we play original music from various artists around the world. They send us in their stuff. And this week we've got a song from a guy called Patrick Cronin. And I'm guessing he's an Irish singer-songwriter. And we're going to play his tune at the end of the show. So stick around at the end of the podcast to listen to some good original music. Because that's what we promote. Originality, baby.
Every way, shape, and form.
All right, Yank, what's the story today anyways? What's
We're
going on?
talking about roids.
Roids.
Juice.
Androids.
Androids. Steroids, man. Steroids.
All right.
I just started taking them a couple days ago, and I got to say, I have never felt better, faster, or stronger.
You know, this is the truth. I put a steroid into my body every single day of the week. Probably 2 to 3 times a day. And I put it into my eye. And it's an eye drop. It's a steroid eye drop.
Is it a corticosteroid?
I'm not sure what it is. I have a thing in my eyes called rosacea or blepharitis. I've had it since I've
I
been
think
a
I've
kid.
heard of rosacea.
It's an inflammation of your eyelids and your eyelashes. I have very long eyelashes. And my eyelids used to get very inflamed. I'd have red, stinging, sore eyes.
I've seen you with red eyelids.
Yeah, it was when I was younger. It was way worse, and I never went to see what it was about until before I moved to Canada. And then my mother's like, "You're going to the fucking eye doctor to see what the hell's wrong with your eyes." And they said, "Oh, it's rosacea." And they gave me like these wipes that I would have to wipe my eyes clean with. Long story short, I never got anything that worked properly for me until I came to Taiwan here, and I was like, I want to see if they've got anything different for me. Went to the fucking eye guy here. The eye guy, I don't know if that's what you call him, and he got me these drops, 2 different types of drop, and literally the first drop, if I have red stinging eyes, whatever the hell it is, this first drop, which is a steroid drop, when I drop that into either of my eyes, about a minute later, they just clear up like
Really?
magic. I couldn't believe it.
My girl, she's got a bunch of different eye
Yeah.
drops.
Couldn't believe it. So this is specifically for blepharitis and rosacea, which is a condition I'll have for the rest of my life.
Wow. I was taking Prednisone for a little bit, which is a steroid for your skin, because I was skin rash, and they gave me a steroid for my skin. So there are other forms of steroids, not just bodybuilding steroids.
Exactly, and I didn't know this until I started putting steroids in my eyes.
Yeah.
Until I started putting steroids in my eyes, I didn't realize.
New ways to use steroids. Man, you ever heard stories about people putting LSD in their eyes?
LSD in their eyes.
I had a buddy that did it, and apparently went like blind in that eye while fucking tripping.
Why would you put LSD in your eye?
Don't know. People are crazy, man.
Did you ever hear of people putting ecstasy up their ass?
Oh yeah,
They call
that's the best way to do it.
They call
Boofing.
They call it bum dropping.
Oh, we call it boofing.
I get like this is a thing. What?
Like train spotting, right? He sticks that pill up his ass, but like you get almost 100% of a drug if you stick it up your butt. That's a fact.
That's mad.
Yeah, I know.
Because when we lived in Ireland, like, you know, whatever, we used to dabble and all this kind of stuff, and then one guy came into the house and he's like, "Oh man, I fucking got some ecstasy there and I stuck it up my ass and I was off my head." And we're like, "What? We're like, you serious?" Like, "Yeah man, I'm telling you, I met this fella downtown and he told me," he said, "Man, if you stick that up your ass, you'll be as high as fuck." And he'd done it, and we used to just call it bum dropping. I never done it. Yeah, but
You heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen. Bum dropping. bum jumping. Bum dropping.
Sticking ecstasy up your ass.
So I got a question for you, Patty.
Hit me with it.
What % of actors do you think use steroids?
Uh,
I guess this refers specifically to the kind of actors we would assume are using them, right?
Okay, right now in these days, superhero movies. All these motherfuckers that are doing superhero movies. Look at what's his name? The guy who played Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. I know he was a physical education teacher, but how ripped and shredded he got for those movies in a short period of time, got to be on the juice. I know that Brad Pitt was on a steroid cycle for different movies. Also, Jake Gyllenhaal for what's that movie you love, Southpaw.
Uh-huh.
Like, just the chance, like, they're all juicing. They're all, as Nate Diaz once said, "Everybody's on steroids, man. They're all on steroids. Fuck you and your whole team." That's my impression of Nate Diaz.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal's trainer, his name is actually Happy Hill. And Happy Hill, in an interview, said 20% of actors use PEDs, a.k.a. performance-enhancing drugs, to bulk up and define.
Of course.
He said getting a six-pack after 40 is very difficult to maintain unless you're extremely genetically gifted. You think you'll still have a six-pack? You have 8-pack, right? You think you'll still have your pack after 40?
If I live the life that I live right now and the way I've kind of always lived it,
Yeah.
then yes, I will. I'm going to be in good shape. Yeah,
Yeah.
I aim to be.
Do you remember in 2014 there was a Alex Rodriguez in the Major Baseball League? He was in a big steroid scandal, and he got suspended and ended up paying out $40 million for testing positive
In baseball.
in baseball.
I thought, like,
man.
baseball
Maybe Barry
players-
Bonds too. Barry Bonds also got in trouble for taking steroids.
I know nothing about baseball.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either.
I know nothing about it. It's like you hit the fucking ball with a stick and then you run around the ring, and then if you like get around the ring before
Sounds very
somebody
similar
else-
to your take on basketball.
I'm just saying it how I see it. It's how I see it, and it's like, yeah. I mean, but in baseball, I always assumed that they were kind of overweight guys that weren't in that good of shape. It's like one guy just has to throw a ball, pretty much. So I didn't imagine steroids would be a big thing. I never seen like a juiced up baseball player. You know what I mean? That looks like,
Yeah.
fuck, that guy looks like he's roiding. But you're
Well, you
telling
can
me,
use it for physique, or you can use it for strength and speed, right?
okay, there you go.
So, actually, there are some celebrities that like openly admit to using it and say there are a lot of benefits, and those are Oliver Stone, Nick Nolte, and Dixie Carter. They all use HGH for the anti-aging benefits.
Nick Nolte's mental.
Yeah.
But I think didn't was it Nick Nolte? Am I thinking of? Is he the guy that had the crash, and he hit his head and he had a very bad head injury, and then
fucking. No, I think you're thinking of somebody else. What was his name? Really crazy dude. Started talking really.
Yeah.
He was in the movie with Chris Farley and David Spade, and he was like a Rambo type character hiding up on a mountain.
Yeah.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Nick Nolte. You know who Nick Nolte is?
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the movie,
To become a warrior or some shit about gymnastics, right?
That's So Crazy. No, but the movie is called Warrior, and it's got Tom Hardy, and he becomes an MMA fighter, and his brother's an MMA fighter, and their father is, what's his name?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, and he's a drunk. He's like,
Hey, Tommy, come here. I'm your
Yeah, yeah,
father.
yeah.
What are you doing? He's like, stop the ship, Tommy. He's gonna get him out of here. And he talks
talks like that.
I think I tried to watch it and it froze, and I never
Good
had to
movie.
finish it.
Pretty good movie.
Yeah.
A little bit unrealistic, Tom Hardy's character, I thought, but I mean, when you came to the fighting aspect of the movie, but a very good movie, and I liked Nick Nolte's performance in it.
And Charlie Sheen. Of course, what hasn't he used?
He's got tiger blood, that motherfucker.
Yeah. He told Sports Illustrated that he took steroids to prep for his role as the pitcher in 1989's Major League. Yeah,
Who would have
so-
thunk? Baseball,
yeah.
huh? Littered with roids.
And here's like an elite trainer that works specifically in Hollywood. His name's Mark Twight, and this is a quote from him. I thought it was pretty decent. He said, "The guy who uses steroids and admits to it earns more respect from me than the guy who uses but insists he doesn't and wants his fans to
Yeah.
believe he did things the hard way."
My guess, that's very true. That's very true. If you're going, I mean, what's wrong with taking it to prepare for a role in a movie? But I mean, if you're going to compete in something like the UFC or boxing and you're taking performance enhancing drugs, then I think you're an asshole. You're a shithead. But
If you're trying to get away with it, if it's
yeah, well, you've got an advantage over the other guy. This is physical combat. You could die in there. You could die in the octagon. You could die in a boxing ring, very likely. And then you've got a guy that goes in there and he's juiced up, so he's got an advantage over you. It's not a fair playing field. It's not even ground. But if it's somebody that's getting ready for a movie role and they just have to look big and jacked, then fine. I say go ahead and do it. Like if I was to guess, Gyllenhaal for Southpaw definitely 100% took steroids. The guy Hugh Jackman from Wolverine 100%. The guy that plays Thor, most of these superhero guys, most of the guys that play the superheroes, they've got to be roiding. They're just I'd bet on it. I'd bet money on it. You know?
Well, check this out. You know, powerlifting in Britain actually has two separate unions. They have the
know this.
ABPU, Amateur British Powerlifting Union, and then the BPU, the British Powerlifting Union. One tests for PEDs and one does not test for
I'm
PEDs.
aware of that,
You already
yeah.
know about that.
Yeah, I know that through Eddie Hall and those guys that were strongmen.
Uh-huh.
They talked about that before. And
Yeah, and in that, the tested record for largest male squat in the 100-kilo weight class is 332.5 kg. The same record in the untested category is 416 kg. So the people that were using drugs got to 416.
holy hell.
Yeah, that's
That's crazy. That's
almost
like a
100 kg difference.
100-kilo difference in the squat from using roids as opposed to doing it clean and not using roids.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad health repercussions from using steroids too much. I mean, these Hollywood guys that are doing it for the movies, I'm guessing they just do a cycle, specifically to get in shape for a certain movie, and then that's it. They probably don't touch it again
Unless they get hooked.
until they need to do it again for another movie or whatever like that. But
Yeah.
guys like, let's say Rich Piana, the bodybuilder from America, I thought he was a very cool guy. I like listening to the guy talk. Thought he was very real. He died of a heart attack there, I think, a few years ago. Again, it was the steroids and what he was doing to his body that eventually killed him. His heart just couldn't take it. He was just massive. Just again, he's got this thing where he says, "Well, too big." Like he think he looked too big, and he's like, "Well, it doesn't care what you think, or I don't care what you think, and it doesn't matter what you think. This is my body, and this is how I want to look, and I feel like I look good." So
It's one of the best takes you can have in life.
Yeah, very good. He's got some very good interviews. Rich Piana, you'll know his face when you see him. You're like, "Oh, this guy."
You think Ronnie Coleman juiced? Had to, right?
Without a doubt.
Had to.
Without a doubt.
Had to.
Arnie juiced.
Arnie admitted it. He admitted it.
There you go. All
Cool.
these guys juiced, 100%.
You'll like this. On the press tour for Pain and Gain, Mark Wahlberg, 42 at the time, Dwayne Johnson, 41 at the time, insisted they did not use PEDs.
Bullshit.
Wahlberg said, I went from 165 to 212. It was a lot of work and a lot of eating, but that's what the part required, so that's what I had to do.
Okay. when Pain and Gain came out, I was living with my brother somewhere. I think I was possibly living in Australia, and we seen a picture of the two boys, Mark Wahlberg and The Rock.
Yeah.
It's a famous picture of them walking down the street, and The Rock's vest looks like it's like a shoelace on him. And same with Mark Wahlberg. And it's like, there's no fucking way under the sun that those two boys aren't juicing. You can just tell when it's not natural. I said in the last podcast I'd like to box Mark Wahlberg for some reason. I stand by that. And
Yeah, you'd like to box him?
Yeah, and especially seeing as he says he didn't take steroids, the big lying fuck.
All right.
And I apologize in advance if he didn't, but I don't believe him. Sorry.
And then Tyler Perry and 50 Cent were among a group of celebrities whose names surfaced in connection with a steroid investigation in New York in 2008. Which, if you think back to 50 Cent's first video, his very first hit, it's him in a gym working out.
Definitely juicing.
Yeah.
He's like a monster. I mean, you can have good genes, but he just has muscles coming out of everywhere.
Yeah. Obviously, we all know Rogan is on TRT. He said what he does is just takes his levels back to what they were when he was 27. So he's not going above. He's just going back to a normal, natural state.
And he's not competing against anybody in a competition.
Right. And that's when it becomes wrong, right?
Just like I don't give a fuck about The Rock or Mark Wahlberg taking steroids. It means nothing to me. They're not going in and fighting against another human where you're inflicting life-threatening injuries.
All right, so this is what The Rock said. He admitted in a 2009 interview with MTV that he tried it for his movie Race to Witch Mountain. He said, me and my buddies tried it back in the day when I was 18 or 19. We didn't know what we were doing. So I don't know if he's actually confessed that he's on TRT now or not, but I didn't come across it.
And The Rock, for anyone out there that doesn't know, is Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne.
Juice Johnson is how you say his name in Chinese.
Okay.
Juice Johnson.
Juice Johnson.
Juice Johnson.
Juicing Johnson, huh?
Yeah.
Juicing fucking Johnson.
All right.
It's all there right in front of you, people.
And Schwarzenegger, he said, I have no regrets about using steroids. We did it under doctor's supervision. We were experimenting with it. It was a new thing. You can't roll the clock back and say, now I would change my mind.
Good for Ernie.
Yeah, good to fess up, right?
He also fessed up to smoking weed as well back in the day.
Did he?
Well,
He
I think
still
he
became the fucking governor.
I think he was on camera smoking a bong or a blunt or something.
And
why
you'll
not?
like this one, Mickey Rourke. He beat around the bush during an interview, but they asked him if he took steroids for his role in The Wrestler, and he said, when I'm a wrestler, I behave like a wrestler, with a wink.
Huh. So there you go. I mean, Mickey Rourke is still in phenomenal shape. Like, have you seen him? Like, I mean, he's a kind of a strange-looking dude. He got a lot of plastic surgery. Like, he doesn't... Mickey Rourke today does not look like the Mickey Rourke.
No. My favorite movie growing up was Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, which I think you've never seen.
I've never
But that
seen
was
it.
when he was, like, you know, thin. He looked great, but
Mickey
he was
Rourke
just,
was a handsome-looking guy.
Yeah, he looked great. I don't know what happened exactly. I always...
He became a professional boxer.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke became a professional
fucked his
boxer.
face up?
He gave up. He gave up Hollywood. He got blacklisted from Hollywood in the 90s, and he gave up. He was like talking shit about Hollywood, saying they're all a bunch of fucking pukes, they're all a bunch of whatever and this and that. And he got blacklisted from Hollywood. So he pursued a professional boxing career with Freddie Roach as his coach.
No shit.
Freddie Roach was Manny Pacquiao's trainer.
Right.
Many people. He's trained many people. And Mickey Rourke's sparring partner was a guy called James Toney. James Lights Out Toney, one of the greatest boxers of all time. I think James Toney went on to win the heavyweight title, light heavyweight, whatever. Super slick guy and from what people have said, reports, he used to just beat the shit out of Mickey Rourke in the sparring. Like, he just beat the fuck out of them. I think they stayed friends, but Mickey Rourke started getting plastic surgery then. Slowly over the years, his face started to transform. Now he looks like like a rubber face. He looks like his face got melted.
Yeah.
I like his personality, though, from what I've seen. I think Mickey Rourke seems like a very cool guy.
Yeah.
He was good friends with Tupac.
Yeah. Was he?
Man, him and Tupac, they done that movie together. One of my favorite Tupac movies. I think it's called Bullet.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember.
Great movie. And
I tried to watch it again recently. I was
yeah,
like,
you didn't like it, no? I think I watched it growing up as a kid, so maybe it's not as good now.
It's so gritty,
Yeah.
and it was just like that day, I couldn't handle sitting indoors and watching a movie that
grimy
dark.
and gritty.
It's
and
very gritty
I
and
thought
grimy.
Mickey Rourke was good at Tupac as well. But
Mickey
yeah.
Rourke just narrated a documentary about UFOs. Yeah, very recently.
Really?
I started it. I didn't finish it because it's just really far out, but he narrates it, and he seems to be the perfect person to have narrated it.
Man. Yeah, Mickey Rourke. I'd love to get Mickey Rourke on here
For
a
sure.
chat.
For
He'd be
sure.
one of my top 10 on my list of dream guests on the podcast.
I think
Mickey
I could
Rourke
agree
is
with
one.
that. I could
Yeah,
agree with
for
that.
Sure.
Another one. This is pretty juicy. Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, come on. He got caught in Australia.
Right.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, when he was getting ready for Rambo, he was detained at an Australian airport in 2008 for carrying bottles of HGH. He later fessed up to taking the substance, but softened his admission by calling the drug an amino acid and equated it to aspirin. He was caught with 48 vials of HGH in Australia.
Hell. He's got that shit coming out of his ears.
That's a lot.
But I mean, look at Stallone. Stallone's like 70 now, I think, or something like that. Look
Dude,
at
I
him.
saw a picture of him on Instagram the other day with like
He's
these crazy,
ripped.
colorful cowboy boots and like cool Japanese samurai tattoos. Like he still looks like a fucking gangster.
Stallone, I've seen some of his training footage from only a couple of years ago, and he's doing like crazy shit. He's doing weighted pull-ups, he's doing dips, he's doing all this kind of stuff, and he's that age. It's like, I don't know, but you just have to be almost 90% certain he's taking something. He's got to be taking shit.
And why not? I
Why
don't know.
not as well?
Why not?
Fuck yeah. I get to like 60 years old and it's like I can take like steroids or something like this that will enhance my sex drive, that will enhance my what's it called? Testosterone, all these different things. Of course I'm gonna take it. Me and my brother already talked about this many times.
Yeah, I'm pretty on board as well.
Yeah.
One guy that claims he did not because Warner Brothers wanted to keep it clean, and his trainer was like very, very anti-roids. Was Henry Cavill, the guy that played the most recent Superman. Him and his trainer both claimed that there was absolutely no PEDs involved whatsoever. The only thing they gave him was a blend of essentially fatty acids and magnesium to aid sleep, because during sleep is when growth hormone boosts the most.
I mean, I don't know. Did he play Tarzan as well? Was he the guy that played Tarzan?
I don't know.
Whoever played Tarzan was roiding as well. The new guy who played Tarzan. It's just, usually they do it in a very short period of time. They
Yeah.
put on all this muscle and they get ripped. So they're bulking up and they're trimming down all their fat in a very short period of time without having anything to
I saw
help
the
them
main
do that.
character from Jurassic Park, who's also the guy in Guardians of the Galaxy that married Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. But I can't remember his name.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. And there was a picture of him at the beach, fat as fuck.
There you go.
Right? Like in between roles.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let's actually get into what this stuff is. So the steroids that are commonly used are called AAS, which is anabolic androgenic steroids. I can't remember if I got that word androgenic. I rehearsed it yesterday. And androgenic. I think I'm saying it right. Anabolic androgenic steroids, AAS. So anabolic refers to growth promotion, whereas androgenic refers to the development of male sex characteristics. AAS is a synthetic form of testosterone, which is the primary male sex hormone.
Yep.
So there's actually a bunch of different brands, kinds that have different side effects and different uses, which is crazy. I was trying to find them all, but it was kind of hard. Some of them are called Anadrol, Oxandrin, Dianabol, Winstrol, Decadurabolin, and Equipoise.
These are all different types of anabolic steroids.
Yeah, it's a lot of steroids, huh? Because, people who are really into it, it's called stacking, and they generally combine several different steroids at one time.
Yeah. There's some good documentaries on YouTube you can watch about guys that openly do steroids, and they show you like their steroid cycle. And this one guy in particular, I remember, and he had a cupboard in his bedroom, and it was just littered, just absolutely full of empty little steroid vials and stuff like that. And he's
Really?
like, this cost me however many thousand, and he's just addicted to it. And he just thinks he doesn't care. Like, again,
I watched a really cool documentary on Netflix, I think, about this guy, and he think he even had like a steroid company or something, and he was huge. I can't remember the documentary or his name, but yeah.
I mean, hey, if you're doing it and you're not hurting anybody but yourself, then go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I've nothing to say about these guys. Unless, like I said, you're hurting nobody other than yourself. If you're going into the fucking octagon to fight or into the boxing ring or anything like that, then fuck you.
Your freedom ends where my nose begins. All right, so if we were to start using AAS, the strength gains we could experience would be like 5 to 20%, and weight gains of like 4.5 to 11 pounds, aka 2 to 5 kg. That's the kind of gains we could expect to experience.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 5 to 20%, 20%. So your bench press could increase by 20%. It's pretty huge. So like I just said, stacking is a slang term for when you're mixing multiple types of AASs. Some athletes include synthetic hormones such as growth hormone, aka GH, and insulin. But the negative side effects, which is pretty interesting because there are like a lot of negative side effects, but I think a lot of the negative side effects comes from specifically stacking as opposed to just using human growth hormone or just using testosterone.
Okay,
a lot of the negative side effects comes when you start mixing all this shit together.
That's like drugs, isn't it? And different things. Like if you mix certain
like a speedball. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So the negative side effects, if you're stacking, could be like reduced sperm count, shrunken testicles,
I've heard that.
hair growth, and loss of breasts for women. But then if you were to use this stuff right, it could give you healthier sperm, right? So it's really all about how you use this stuff.
Huh?
Yeah. So that was about AAS, anabolic androgenic steroids. And now I got some information on HGH, which is called human growth hormone or growth hormone, or pharmaceutically sold as somatotropin. And this stimulates growth, cell reproduction, and cell regeneration in humans and animals. It's produced by the pituitary gland. So this is kind of interesting because we just talked about vitamin C in the last podcast, which speeds up wound recovery. And this also speeds up healing after an injury and repairs muscle tissue after exercise. Fuck, I want some. Damn, like every time I get an injury, boom, just jab myself with some steroids, get back in the game.
Well, what my brother was saying to me is that let's say guys that are fighting in the UFC, that they can take more damage if they're juiced up. Like you've got this testosterone juiced up guy across from you, you hit him with a shot in the chin, he might be able to take that shot better or recover quicker from it than a guy that's not juicing, than a guy that's
fair,
natural.
Right?
Yeah, it's completely not fair, no.
Yeah, and so
Life's
there
not
are
fair.
2 ways we can inject intramuscularly and subcutaneously. Honestly, I just wanted to say that word, subcutaneously, which means under the skin. So there are a lot of claims about HGH that it slows down aging, that it has anti-aging effects, and that's why a lot of people use it. That's their reason for using it. But there's actually been no clinical trials done, and there's also no proof that it reverses aging or has anti-aging effects. According to the websites I read, but common sense tells me it does have anti-aging effects, and it does help counter the aging process, right? Because what is it that we lose as we age as men?
Yeah.
We lose testosterone. And as we lose that, many things start to happen. So if we could like refill that testosterone, then I think that's going to prevent the effects of aging. Fuck, if you're a rich celebrity like Sylvester Stallone, why not?
Yeah, as long as you don't stop using it, because I imagine once you stop using it, it's like, okay, if you take a line of good cocaine, it's going to bring you up to the top of the fucking mountain. But once you stop, you're going to crash down below that, like you were talking about in the dopamine podcast. You know what I mean, you've got your baseline of something, and if you take something that increases that like tenfold, you're going to crash them way down below that. So it's grand, yeah, if you've got the money and it's feasible for you to be able to take that consistently in a controlled manner.
Oh, you're talking about when I was talking about methadone, how once you get on it, you almost can't ever get off of it.
Well, that's not what I was thinking, but anyways, yeah, you're on about the dopamine before about how I'm thinking the same thing with this. You're saying, oh, it's anti-aging as long as you're taking it. But if you stop taking it, if you don't have enough to, if
then
you
maybe
stop
like
taking
all of a sudden you age like a whole bunch real
boom,
quick.
it just you deteriorate fast, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So HGH works by stimulating your metabolic processes in cells to activate metabolism. It stimulates the liver to make an insulin-like protein that produces cartilage cells. So cartilage is really important. We were even talking about that with vitamin C. Cartilage is like, that would be like where your joints are, right?
Yep.
So where you need collagen.
I think your ear is primarily made up of cartilage.
Yeah, right. Oh, some people get that piece pierced in the inside.
Really?
You know,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
literally
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
pure cartilage. Ooh, All right, cool. So this also helps in bone and organ growth, and also in muscle protein synthesis. Obviously. All right. Oops. This is pretty interesting. So you can name the movie in a second, but some diseases cause severe muscle loss, which can inevitably lead to death if it goes untreated. This is like people who have short bowel syndrome or HIV or AIDS. And when these people start experiencing extreme muscle deterioration, they can get prescribed synthetic forms of HGH.
Okay.
And what was that movie with our man?
Dallas Buyers Club.
Dallas Buyers
Matthew
Club.
McConaughey.
Yeah.
All right.
What was he selling in that movie?
I don't remember what he was selling, but that was...
Was it steroids or was it AIDS medicine?
It was some kind of AIDS medicine that you
Okay.
couldn't get in America. It wasn't approved by the FDA. So he went to Mexico, and he was bringing it over from Mexico, and he was helping treat all these people. Like, he lived for years after the time he was supposed to have already been dead because he was taking this thing. And he's like, well, this is keeping me alive. So why the hell am I going to take it? Like,
Totally.
I mean, he refused to accept that I'm going to die from AIDS. I'm going to die from this. So he started doing his research and then found out, hang on a second, there's this thing in Mexico I can take, and it's going to keep me alive.
Must be the same thing Charlie Sheen's using.
No. Charlie Sheen doesn't need anything. Charlie Sheen's got tiger blood, man. He's got fucking tiger blood.
So recently, the U.S. and some healthcare providers have started prescribing growth hormone for old people, for the elderly, to increase their vitality. And sure, why not? Who wants to be old, miserable, and low on
Yeah.
energy? You
Man,
know?
get on them roids.
I see no reason not to. You know,
Yeah, I'm with you. As long as none of these elderly people are, again, like I said before, getting into the octagon or the boxing ring to fight anyone.
and you got to screen them, right? We'll get to it in a minute, but there are some things. If you have certain conditions, taking steroids can be very dangerous and make the situation worse. But first, human growth hormone has been used by competitors in sports since 1982. So that's pretty interesting. And it was banned by the IOC and the NCAA. You know what that is?
No.
The IOC is the International Olympic Committee,
Okay.
and the NCAA is the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
All right.
So traditional urine analysis did not detect doping with HGH. They didn't know how to do that for the longest time. Or you cannot detect HGH in urine. You can only detect it via blood. So it wasn't until the 2000s in the Olympics when they had blood tests that they could use to find the difference between natural and artificial HGH levels.
Huh.
So blood tests were conducted by WADA, WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, at the 2004 Olympics in Athens, Greece. And these targeted human growth hormone specifically.
Huh.
All right, this is pretty fucked up. Growth hormone has been studied for use in raising livestock more efficiently in industrial agriculture, and several efforts have been made to obtain governmental approval to use it in livestock production. In the U.S., the only FDA-approved use of growth hormone for livestock is the use of a cow-specific form called bovine somatotropin, and it increases milk production. Retailers are permitted to label containers of milk as produced with or without bovine somatotropin. This is what we hear of growing up, right? Don't use dairy products in the U.S. They're jacked with hormones.
Yep.
So this must be the very hormone that are in most dairy cows in the U.S. and thus in the milk, yogurt, and cheese.
So you're drinking roids at a young age over there.
Here we're both just saying steroids are a good thing, right? So maybe we should get some American milk.
As you get older, like I said, I mean, I guess when you know what, each to their own.
Yeah, I would like all my muscles to be honest, now, but at a certain age, I want my vitality and I want to keep going. I don't want to stop and I don't want to slow down.
Of course, if you can be like 65 years old or 70 years old and be fucking in tip-top shape,
Fuck yeah.
or you can be 65 years old or 70 years old and walking with a cane hunched over, not going to be getting any pussy then. Where you get yourself on them roids at 65 or 70, you're going to be still out there being a player. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, got
Yeah.
something juicy for you.
Go on.
So some things in the body stimulate the release of growth hormone. One is Ghrelin.
Ghrelin.
Yeah, buddy.
Ghrelin, your clogs. They're making a sound outside. They're fucking raining.
When ghrelin is present, she will stimulate growth hormone. This bitch loves it. She cannot get enough. Other person, glucagon.
Glucagon. Holy hell.
When glucagon is present, glucagon will also stimulate the release of growth hormone. And I don't think anybody remembers, including you, Patty. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. When you're feeling hungry, that is because ghrelin is being secreted in your stomach.
Yep.
Or you are secreting in her stomach. Glucagon is when your blood sugar is too low in your pancreas, so your body starts converting stored glycogen into glucose, which is what we want to do when we're on the keto diet, right? We want to get stored fat and convert it to sugar that can be used right away.
All right.
And so that's glucagon that is causing that to happen. So if we go a little too far on the roids, one thing that can happen is acromegaly. Pretty sure I'm getting that right. This is too much growth hormone in the body. It causes excess growth in the bones and the soft tissues. Children with this condition can grow to abnormal heights. They can get exaggerated bone structure. Acromegaly mostly affects arms, legs, and face, but you can also get an enlarged jaw or tongue, and eventually you could even get a hoarse, deep voice. You can stink and even get thick skin.
From taking this at a young age?
From getting too, well, not just a young age, even as an adult. This can lead to this. So too much growth hormone coursing through your body on a regular basis can lead to this acromegaly, which causes your bones to like grow larger than normal.
Literally sounds like you're turning into a werewolf or something.
Or a hominid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like turning into our, but it kind of sounds like Mickey Rourke, doesn't it?
A little bit,
Like his jaw jutting out and shit like that.
Yeah.
Everything looks like a little bit bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
It's
I think he's
acromegaly.
bald as well, you know.
Is he?
He's got wears a wig. I'm pretty sure he wears a wig.
Really?
Yeah, checks out some pictures of Mickey Rourke.
So, me and you've talked about this before. Around the age 25 to 30, our testosterone starts to drop. I couldn't find any science on whether it drops 1% exactly every year after 30 because I think it varies from person to person.
Yeah.
But after we reach our peak, which is actually like before 20, we start to decline around 25 to 30. So if we want to get on TRT, we got to go to a doctor. And really, the most common reason people go to a doctor and get on TRT is because they have ED.
E.T. phone home?
ED.
E.T. don't phone home? What the
E
I don't know.
don't. ED stands for erectile dysfunction, which you most certainly do not have.
No. I have the opposite.
But that's the most common reason a doctor will prescribe TRT
Okay.
is if you have ED, erectile dysfunction.
Ah. So no Viagra, just straight on to the TRT.
Oh, I remember reading that you might need to take Viagra with the TRT.
Yeah.
Like use them together to really make sure you could really
You know,
get it up.
You know what people would do back in the day when I was growing up, going out to the pubs and stuff like that? They would randomly sometimes spike somebody with Viagra. They would put Viagra in their drink, and then just wait.
Like a buddy would do it to a buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I would.
Yeah.
Would I do that? That was pretty funny.
And there was a story in Ireland. This is, again, when I was growing up, a story in Ireland that was in the newspapers about these two kids. I think they were 11 and 12 or something like that, and they were in school, and they'd got their hands on some Viagra. They didn't really know what it was or that, and they took the Viagra in school, and they took too much, and yeah, they had to go to the hospital. They were both rushed to the hospital with like raging erections.
Well, it's a vasodilator, so which means it opens up your
Blood vessels.
Right, and has extreme blood circulation.
I've never forgot that story.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's scary. All right, so there's some signs that we could need TRT, and so this is, Patty, we're going to evaluate each other right now. We're going to see, do we need TRT or not?
Yep.
I guess first I got a fun fact. All right, so the amount of belly fat you carry is directly correlated with your HGH production.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting, right?
Yep.
Literally, if you have more belly fat, you are going to have less HGH production.
Huh.
If you have less belly fat, you're going to have more HGH production. They're directly correlated.
That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, if you have low sex drive, you need TRT. ED, erectile dysfunction, fatigue, poor energy levels, decreased muscle mass, body facial hair loss, difficulty concentrating, depression. Depression is a big one. that came up a lot of times in my research. A lot of depression is associated with low levels of testosterone. And you got to wonder which one came first, really.
The chicken or the egg?
The chicken or the egg. Because if you're exercising all the time, you are boosting your testosterone and you're going to feel happy and proud of yourself. If you're lazy as fuck and you're getting fat and you're not stimulating or doing anything that's challenging your hormones or testosterone, you're probably going to be depressed.
Yeah.
So if you're out there right now and you're depressed and you don't know why, go to the gym.
Just go to the gym.
Just go to the gym. It could really make a massive difference. You could be low on testosterone and you don't even know it. If you're depressed and you don't know why, just get moving.
After this episode, somebody's listened to it, they've gone to the gym and they've just stood there and been like, I'm in the gym now, what do I do? Hang on, let me play the episode again. They didn't say what to do when I got to the gym. They just said go to the gym.
Pick something up, put it down, pick it up again, and do that like 25 times.
And when we say pick something up, we don't mean your goddamn phone.
Yeah.
You're in the gym to fucking train, not look at your phones. That goes out directly to people in here in Taiwan that train in the gym. Stop looking at your damn phones. Not that it matters to me. Why should it matter to me? Why should I care?
So in terms of taking testosterone, some people have said that taking it orally is actually dangerous and can have negative effects on the liver. Because of that, the traditional methods of taking testosterone are usually through skin patches, gels, injections, because these bypass the liver. Let's see if I got that right. Yeah, you can take a skin patch, transdermal. You can take a gel where you put on your skin.
These are ways of getting testosterone into your body.
Yeah, because they say like taking it orally, like in a pill form, is not good because that'll go through your liver and damage your liver. So you want to do something like put a patch on. Go ahead.
You know, when Tyson Fury was fighting Deontay Wilder, was it for the second time? He said that he was jerking off 7 times a day to rise his levels of testosterone.
Really?
He was, I don't know if it was just a joke he was doing or what, and he said he was going to bring out his own brand of hand lotion or lotion.
Oh, my.
Check that out. Tyson Fury said he was like jerking off 7 times
You would think
a day.
just like dopamine, though, that would cause a testosterone crash, and then your body would have to work extra hard.
Maybe he was taking the piss. I guess he was probably taking the piss, but he kept saying it throughout the training camp and the media and everything like that in interviews. Yeah, he's funny as hell, him.
Cool. So, although, like, yeah, a lot of people can go crazy from stacking, or you can turn into a psycho, or you just said something about some other negative side effects of taking steroids.
What I'm familiar with is not friends of mine, but friends of mine, their friends, or friend of a friend, was using steroids and they got what's called roid rage.
Yeah, I saw that in a movie,
they would get
football movie.
Extremely angry for no reason. This dude beat the shit out of his girlfriend, just like roid rage. It's like road rage, except it's from taking steroids.
That's actually a specific steroid called trenbolone that causes that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what? It's just why does it call? Why do you get so angry from?
I don't really know, but the steroid trenbolone, for some people it can cause severe anxiety, and for some people it can cause severe rage. But like that's like the one that causes roid rage.
Like they just see red and there's no stopping them. Also, I don't know if this for sure because I've never taken them myself, so I can't say firsthand.
I've never taken them either.
And I've never been around anybody that I know that's been taking them. It's just a friend of a friend I knew that was taking them. But another one was your balls would shrink or your dick would shrink. Your balls, I think it was, would shrink.
Which that can happen, but I think that's more likely a result from stacking.
Okay.
When you're mixing different kinds.
Types of steroids. Okay. That was the two things I'd heard about from taking steroids. The negative side effects of taking steroids.
Yeah. And so TRT specifically is only testosterone. And a lot of guys that start on the TRT, they say, oh, my energy level's better, my sex drive is better, the quality of my erections are better. I wonder if you stay hard longer, too. That'd be interesting. And testosterone can also increase your bone density, your muscle mass, and insulin sensitivity. I mean, that's huge. Bone density, because when you get old, you know, that's one of the things that go, my dad was just saying he takes a calcium supplement every day. So bones and joints those are so important, especially for bodybuilders or people like us. Your joints and your
That's why we stretch, and that's why we lift weights now. Because lifting weights, I heard,
strengthens your bones
and increases your bone density.
Yeah.
So you do that at a younger age, it'll benefit you as you get older. You know what I mean? But like I said again, it's like, man, if I get to 60 or 65 and it's like I'm feeling all these declines, I'm absolutely 100% going taking this shit.
100%.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
So some side effects are rash, itching, irritation at the site where it was applied. So I decided if I'm gonna do it right,
Yep.
I'm just gonna find a place where I already have the rash and just inject it into there. What's the worst that can happen? A double rash?
Double rash. Double rash.
I'm a permascurve, baby. I'm used to it. I got nothing to lose.
Holy hell. Fuck.
There's also evidence of a increased risk of heart attack or stroke. I don't believe any of this shit.
Yeah, that's a lot. A lot of bodybuilders have died young from heart failure.
Really?
Yep.
But once
Rich
again,
Piana, the guy I told you about earlier, perfect example.
once again, it's probably from mixing shit, though, right? Like, who knows?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know the science behind it, but I know a lot of bodybuilders have died young from heart failure, and a lot of the times they put it down to steroids.
All right, so this is pretty important. These are the things that if you have them, TRT can make it worse. First one, benign prostatic hypertrophy, which is BPH, which actually I was diagnosed with a few years back when I was having like prostatitis and prostate inflammation.
Whoa.
Some people said I don't know, but every doctor told me a different thing. But they gave me BPH medicine, which is benign prostatic hypertrophy. Prostate cancer. If you have it, don't do it. Sleep apnea. My stepdad has it. No TRT for you. Blood clots. Don't take TRT.
Your blood clot, yeah.
Your blood clot
Your
and
blood
congestive heart failure. Do not take the TRT. All right. All right, so the difference between like stacking and taking anabolic androgenic steroids, that versus TRT, is that the doses used in TRT only achieve physiological natural levels of hormones in the blood, as where people using AASs are causing unnaturally high levels of testosterone in the blood. So that is the difference. Since you're getting the TRT from the doctor is not going to allow you to get abnormally high levels of testosterone in your blood. They're only going, like Rogan said, they're only going to put you back to like what you had when you were 27, for example.
Huh. I mean, that's, yeah. What? Go for it.
Yeah, just take me back to what I was when I was in my youth. So, all right, so that's basically covered now. But what I want to focus on now is ways to boost testosterone naturally. Because this is shit you can do right now, we can do right now. Actually, me and you already do most of the stuff, so it doesn't matter for us.
All right.
But number one is exercise, right? We already said it. Resistance training, high-intensity interval training. And if you take some caffeine and creatine, that can even further boost your levels of testosterone.
I've recently been taking creatine again.
Me too.
I'd stopped for a while, and creatine is something that I 100% stand by. Like,
me too.
It definitely increases your strength. It's also supposed to have cognitive benefits. It's supposed to help your brain.
There's also no fillers. You know what I mean?
It's
when you get protein powder, when you get BCAA powder, and you got there's
like
always shit in
30 ingredients on the back of it.
Right.
It's like,
Creatine's always just creatine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the most scientifically studied supplement on the market. Is creatine.
Yeah, and it works.
And we naturally produce it in our bodies anyways.
Right.
So, yeah, I recommend creatine.
Yeah, especially if you're not eating a lot of meat, right? Because creatine comes from meat.
I think you would have to eat 2 pounds of red meat to get 5 grams of creatine. So, I mean, you're going to eat 2 pounds of red meat every day?
Right. So, another thing we need to focus on, which I think is common sense, is a balanced diet of fats, carbs, and protein. And one thing you got to be careful with is constant dieting or overeating can disrupt your testosterone levels. I remember reading that because I was fasting all the time there for a while, right? And I was doing intermittent fasting and then maybe a 24-hour fast once a week. And I was starting to get a little fatigued and getting a little tired. And then I remember reading this, and I was like, I wonder if I'm fasting too much and I'm causing my testosterone levels to drop. And around that time was when I changed and started eating like 3.5 to 4 meals a day instead of my usual 2 meals a day. And I got to tell you, energy and mood definitely both went up.
From eating more or?
From eating more.
Really?
From eating more. I'll still do the 24-hour fast once every 2 or 3 weeks. But I don't fast as much. I don't do as much of the intermittent. It really depends on how much I'm training. If I'm training more, I'm eating more. If I'm training less, I'm fasting more. And that's my rule of thumb.
Same as me. When I'm training, I think about food and eating food all the time just to make sure that I'm putting enough nutrients into my body. If I don't go to the gym or I stop training, food means nothing to me pretty much. I don't think about it at all. I don't give a fuck about eating food. That's why I'm one of these people that I'm what you call a hard gainer. It's like it's difficult for me to put on size and to put on muscle. That's why I have to be so consistent. Like I train all the time and I eat whatever I eat all the time. So when I stop training, I don't gain weight. I don't get fat. I just get skinny.
And so I'm the opposite of Paddy.
Yeah.
I'm a hard loser.
Yeah.
I'm a sore loser. Like if I don't do anything, I blow up. I get big. I get chunky.
Most people I know are the same way.
Yeah.
They stop going to the gym for a while. They get fat and they put on. I'm the opposite. I lose weight and I get slimmer.
Yeah.
So.
Asshole. All right. This one's really important. Your stress, your cortisol levels have a direct correlation with your testosterone levels, and they work together like a seesaw. So when your testosterone's up, your cortisol goes down. And when your cortisol goes up, your testosterone drops. And your cortisol is your stress hormone. So literally, when you are stressed out and you're freaking out, your testosterone is plummeting.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's really important to figure out how to manage your stress. Or
Stress is a killer, man.
It is, right? So when you think about office workers here in Taiwan who are overworked, stressed out with no time to exercise,
Yeah.
overflowing with cortisol, have like little to no testosterone.
For what? Just to work yourself into an early grave? Just to work yourself so look at the Joneses down the street. I'm keeping up with them. I got that new car. I got that house. But at
Yeah.
what cost? At what cost? Health over wealth, baby. That's what I always say. Health over wealth.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. And I heard this before too, which is when you're stressed out, when people are stressed out, they tend to eat more. And weight gain and the storage of harmful body fat around your organs. I forgot what that's called. Fat around your visceral fat. Fat around your organs is called visceral fat, and visceral fat can negatively impact your testosterone because visceral fat would be belly fat. That would be abdominal fat. All right, cool. Another way to increase your testosterone, and I saw this on several websites, but I've never heard this before, so I thought it was pretty interesting, is vitamin D. Once again, take this office worker, working 10, 12 hours a day, always stressed out, doesn't have a chance to go out and get any sun.
There you go.
No vitamin D.
I've been trying to do what Ninja Ned does almost every morning here in Taiwan. Is first thing in the morning when he gets up, when the sun comes up, he goes outside without his shirt and that on, and he stands in the sun for a while to get that good early morning boost of sun.
I do it
I've-
too, but
I've started
I
doing
go totally naked.
I'm pretty sure he probably does as well, but I've never seen him do it. But I've started doing that recently, and I feel great. Like I'll get up in the morning and I'll try and head outside straight away and just get that sun on my body, the warm sun. And again, there's the UV rays are pretty much zero at that time of the morning, so you're just getting good, clean vitamin D.
Yeah, you've talked about this before,
I
right?
feel
That you
good.
really got to watch out for the UV rays.
UV rays, yeah.
Can you
from
tell
the
me a
sun.
little bit about that? Like you actually pay attention to the
Well,
numbers, right?
Well, yeah, the ultraviolet rays that come off the sun. So even on a cloudy day here in Taiwan, Taipei, the UV rays could still be fucking 9 or 10, which is super high, like. So you'll get
So
burned.
that's like a dangerous level.
Yeah, it's a dangerous level. Yeah, like 1 to, let's say 1 to 5, 1 to 4 is like low. Then 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 is moderate, and then 7 to like, I guess 11, I think it goes to, is like high. Or very high.
So every day in Taiwan around 1 o'clock, it must be like a 12.
1 o'clock, 1:30, man. I'd be doing boxing outside. I train boxing outside. Sometimes it just be sweltering. But the more time I'm out there, I guess the more used to it I get. I had to try and be in the shade as much as I can, but yeah, you want to watch out for those UV rays. No good for your body.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have the time to get outside and get the actual sun, take a vitamin D supplement, or you can eat some salmon, right? Salmon is a great source of vitamin D. Lots of different seafood is good for vitamin D. I would reckon sardines as well. Yes.
Here's me. Here's me. Here's the big hypocrite sitting in the corner preaching about UV rays and the numbers. Yes, from 1 to 3 is low, and from 6 to 7 is moderate. And I went into a sunbed and put oil all over my body.
He means a tanning bed.
A tanning bed that I put this oil all over my body that didn't have any sunscreen on it at all. And I went into a fucking sunbed on high for 10 minutes, and I burnt myself to a crisp from head to toe.
That's how my mom got skin cancer, man.
Really?
She
That was my only time ever doing it. I'll never
Really?
do it again.
well, she used to do it. Like, I don't know, maybe once a week. Like even now, if I smell like coconut lotion, I immediately like get transported to my mom's tanning salon because it always smelled like coconut lotion or some
Okay.
shit. But
Yeah.
I think she used to tan like once a week, and eventually she got a patch of skin cancer on her leg.
Shit.
So tanning beds, no.
Well, I basically oiled myself up and put myself in the frying pan. That's basically what I basically
Yeah.
cooked myself in the fucking frying pan. That
All
was-
right,
yeah.
cool.
Don't do that, listeners.
And I repeatedly found that zinc is also good for your testosterone. And you guys already know because I've said it before. I don't like getting too into supplements, but testosterone's pretty important, especially if you're getting older and if you don't have access to TRT or if you don't want to be jabbing yourself with steroids. These are other things you can do. So zinc mixed with vitamin B has been shown to increase sperm quality by 74%. That's huge, 74%.
So if you don't want kids like me,
Don't
stop.
take zinc.
Don't take zinc.
But if you're having trouble making a baby, oysters, I think, are one of the foods highest in zinc. Oysters and pumpkin seeds. And pumpkin seeds are really good for men in general. Pumpkin seeds are high in zinc, high in protein, and they also have another substance in them that's really good for your prostate. There's literally no better food I could suggest adding to your diet for a man than pumpkin seeds.
Gonna add that to my diet after you tell me that there, yeah.
And if you're gonna eat a lot of them, try to get the organic ones if you can
Organic
afford
pumpkin
them.
seeds. All these little tips and tricks, ladies and gentlemen, try some of them out. If you're feeling depressed, you're feeling like you've low energy, you're feeling unmotivated, try some of these little things that we're telling you about, that the Yank is telling you about. Just change something in your life.
Yeah.
You can change something in your life. You can change.
Yeah, some of these things are little changes. Some of these things are big changes. But
Yeah.
when you make a lot of little changes, in the end, all those little changes work together to make one big change.
Yeah.
So it starts with making one little change, and then you start doing a stacking. And you stack all these little changes on top of each other.
Yep.
So sleep is huge. We know this, but back when we talked about fasting, we talked about HGH and human growth hormone, and actually the time of the day that you experience the biggest spike in human growth hormone is during your sleep. Therefore, sleep is very important. And if you're only getting like 5 hours a night, that could cause a 15% reduction in your testosterone. And people who sleep only 4 hours a night have borderline deficient levels. For another study said for every hour of sleep you can get a 15% increase in your testosterone. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Yank.
Yeah.
I was going to hold this for another podcast, which I will. I'm going to hold it. Okay, but just because directly, I'll give you a little taster, right? I recently went on a hiking trip at the weekend to some waterfalls in the mountain, done some river trek and all that kind of stuff. And there was a guy on this trip. I was thinking about getting him on the podcast, only he doesn't speak English. He only speaks Mandarin. And then somebody said maybe they can get a translator to come on here and he'll talk. This guy went to Japan and studied with some old master regarding how to only sleep for 2 hours every night. And this guy only sleeps for 2 hours every night.
Wow.
And not only that, he can choose whatever time of the day to sleep for 2 hours, and he can fall asleep instantly.
That is so convenient, dude.
So
wish
when
I
you
could do
said
that.
when you said that, it made me think of that. I'll speak no more about it. I'll try and either get this guy on the podcast, or I'll do my research on this. It's this crazy method that they use in Japan. It's like a school of teaching you how to do this, and they teach you for free. We'll talk about it again in another podcast.
Yogis in India, they also do not stress a need for sleep. And when I went to India, I was staying with my yogi friend, and he's like, we'd sleep for like 4 hours. And then we'd get up, and we'd go to the beach, and we'd go running, and we'd go swimming, and then we'd come back. And then he's like, Yank, I can see that you're quite tired. Why don't you take a nap, and we'll cook you lunch? Because I wasn't used to it, but he was like adjusted to it. And he's like, you really don't need as much sleep as you think you need.
Huh.
But I don't know. I need sleep. Without sleep,
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
an
So
asshole.
I'm gonna do my research on this Japanese method of sleeping only for 2 hours every night.
So, as you see on the table placed in front of me, 2 bottles of supplements.
Yep.
The first one is called ashwagandha. These are natural boosters of testosterone. I have that. Heard a lot about it. Taken it. It's the one with the most research. It has caused a 17% increase in testosterone levels and a 167% increase in sperm count. That's insane. Once again, Paddy, you don't need it.
Amazing ashwa. That's what it says on this.
Yeah, ashwagandha.
On this thing. Holy hell.
And ashwagandha has also been shown to reduce cortisol by 25%. And like we just said, testosterone and cortisol work hand in hand. You want the cortisol down, testosterone up. Ginger extract can also help. And ginger extract is good for such a wealth of things. Guys, if you don't have a little bottle of ginger powder at home, I do. I love throwing it in my coffee. I love throwing it in my tea. Ginger is good for so many different things. It's an antioxidant. It might help boost your testosterone. Not really sure. In one case, it was showed to increase your testosterone levels by 17%. Cool. There are other ones. My favorite of all time is black maca, and I found that me and like 3 friends all found that it reduced our anxiety, improved our sleep, and helped with the hard-ons and the bedroom performance.
You guys all sat round in a circle and took some black maca and see. Okay, yeah. How's your hard on? Mine's pretty hard. How's yours? Yeah, it's pretty good. That's pretty solid. Yeah. Okay, well I give it a 6 out of 10. I would give this an 8 out of 10.
All right, this is pretty interesting. Avoid estrogen-like products. I'm sure you're thinking soy. No, not soy. High exposure to estrogen-like chemicals can affect testosterone. Obviously, what I'm talking about here is BPA, parabens, and chemicals found in plastic. That shit is high in estrogen and bad for your testosterone. So this is like your water bottle. Does your water bottle have BPA? Is it BPA free? Or if you have a regular water bottle and it gets heated by the sun, the BPA will come out of the plastic and into the water. Just yesterday, I noticed my shampoo bottles are on the windowsill and the sun hit them every day, which means it's going to be taking the BPA out of the plastic into the shampoo, which I'm then going to be rubbing all over my head. That would be an example of something not to do, bad for your testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so BPA and parabens, watch out. Like, you don't want to heat plastics ever, right? Don't put plastic in the microwave. I hope you already know that. Too much drugs, too much alcohol. That is bad. You need to laugh more and be happy, guys. Try not to stress out. So we previously did an episode on fasting. Intermittent fasting raises HGH. I've actually said these exact words on the podcast before, but after a 3-day fast, your HGH levels can increase by 300%. After a 1 week, 1,250%, if you can manage to do a fast that long. A long time ago, we did a podcast on fasting. We talked a lot about human growth hormone, and a lot of that's because when you're fasting, your body's burning your belly fat. As soon as your belly fat starts going down, your human growth hormone production starts going up. And also, insulin and testosterone also have the seesaw effect. When insulin is high, testosterone is low. So all day, if you're eating all day, your insulin's constantly up and your testosterone is going to be low. So that's why before we eat, or before we go to bed, we don't really want to be eating. Because when we go to sleep, that's when our body makes the most HGH, and we don't want insulin interfering with that HGH production. So it's best to avoid food if you can, like 2 to 3 hours before sleeping.
That was interesting, informative. Anybody that's listening, I hope you got something on that podcast. Follow Paddy and The Yank on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the podcast, comment.
I'm done.
Get in touch with us, you know.
Mic drop.
And today, we have music from a band called Smooth Mary.
Smooth Mary.
Smooth Mary, and they sent us in one of their tracks, and it's from one of their EPs that you can find on Spotify and Apple Music. They said, we're excited to share our quarantine album with the world. And as things are starting to open up, we are looking forward to performing these songs. Okay, so this is Smooth Mary. I believe they're from Ireland, but I'm not certain. And this song is called Have You Seen the Light? Big shout out to Smooth Mary. Have you seen the light?
Enjoy, my friend.
Peace.
Later.